Hello and welcome to lesson 1 on how to use Autocad. Put these videos together basically to give users a hands-on experience instead of having to read a book or sit through a classroom. This is fun, it's easy, you just follow along, you learn the tools. I don't like talking too much as far as leading up to stuff, so we're just going to jump right in and get started. I'm using Autocad 2014. It doesn't matter what version you're using. For this lesson, we're going to be creating a three-dimensional gear. We're going to start out creating it in 2D, and then we'll make it 3D, have some fun with it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, always File, Save As. Okay, save it whatever you want. Mine's lesson 1 gear, saving it to my desktop, hitting save. Now it's saved. Alright, once everything's saved, you want to create the body of your gear. You can do that by typing in circle. Alright, once you do that, it's going to ask you to pick a center point, click anywhere, make it as big as you want. There's your body. Next thing you want to do is type circle again, or hit spacebar to repeat the last command. You want to click exactly center of the circle. To do that, hit F3, that turns your auto snap on. If it's not on, again, hit F3, it'll turn it on or turn it off. Click exactly in the center, bring it up as high as you want your teeth to go. I want mine to be that high this time. Now I've got my teeth lines. Pretty simple. Next thing we want to do is we want to create the spacings between our teeth. To do so, you're going to create lines. First thing you do is you type PL for Polyline, hit enter, and now your Polyline's on. Click exactly center of the circle and draw a straight line. If yours is not automatically making it straight, hit F8 for the orthogonal command. It'll turn it on or off. On, your line is straight. Off, you can basically do whatever you want with it. Turn it on, straight line up, there you go. Hit escape to clear it out. Next thing we want to do is we want to type array. Array equally spaces whatever object around or along a certain path. We're going to type array, select our line, right click, and it's going to ask you what type of array. We're going to do a polar array. You hit enter. Alright, it's going to ask you for the center point of your circle. It's right there. By default, Autocad thinks I want 6 items. If I did that, I'd have really big teeth on my gear. I don't like it. So if I type I hit enter, it's going to ask me, well, how many items do you want? I think I'm going to go with 15 teeth. No real reason. I just want to see how many it makes. It's pretty decent. I think 15 might still be a little bit too big, so if I hit I again, enter, it's going to ask me. I'm going to take it to 18 teeth. That looks pretty good to me. I can even make it smaller if I want. I'm going to stick to 18. You want to go ahead and hit escape, clear everything out. There you go. Next thing you want to do is when you go to make your teeth, you want to have the ability to do it. Right now, CAD still thinks all those lines are part of an array, not letting us edit it. I don't like that. Clear everything out. Type in explode. It's going to ask you to select what you want to explode. I want to select all those lines. Right click. Now it exploded them. If I click on them individually, I can edit each line. Cool. Now we're ready to go. We're going to make some teeth. We want to trim things up. To do that, type in TR. That stands for trim. We're just going to go ahead, and we already know all these little spokes on the outside, they're no good. We don't need them. So if you right or left click on the outside of the circle, the very outside circle, you're telling CAD, I want to keep that. Then I'm going to right click. CAD's saying, okay, you want to keep that. Now what do you want to get rid of? I'm going to get rid of that, and that, and that, and that. Go ahead and just go around your circle, get rid of all those spokes, because they're not needed. Not for this gear. Alright, when that's done, hit escape to clear it out. Now, we're still not done. We're going to go ahead, zoom up, take a look at what we got. A gear is simple. You've got the gear, and then you've got the space. Then you got the gear, teeth, and then the space. We got to make that. Type in TR again. We know we want to keep this. We don't need this. So to do that, you select this polyline and this polyline. Right click. Get rid of that. We're going to do that the whole way around. So while I do it, you go ahead and do the same thing. and we'll meet back up once it's done. As you can see, I mean, there's some things within CAD that are repetitious, but what I like about that is, as a beginner, that forces you to learn that command. Like you can see, I made a mistake. If you make a mistake, type U, hit enter. It's the same as undo. It's going to undo the last thing you did. And get back to what you were doing. It's that simple. Sometimes when you're dealing with, a lot of different icons or the same icons, whatever it may be, you tend to make mistakes, get ahead of yourself. No big deal. There's always a feature to correct what you messed up. Just like how I did there. There we go. Now it's back. Very last one. There we go. Now I've got that part of my gear, but it still doesn't look like a gear. It's not supposed to, but it will. We don't need any of the lines that are going through the tooth part of the gear. So what you want to do is just go ahead and select everything that's inside the circle. And then right click to say, now I want to get rid of stuff. And click on every line on the inside of the tooth. It's not needed. Done. Now the last thing, it's like, well, now I got this little starburst looking thing. TR again, and you already know that you don't need anything that's inside of what's left of this circle. So to do so, you just delete this and everything else inside. You'll notice I forgot a space there. It's no big deal. You just go back to what you did before and get rid of it. Cool. Now we got something that looks like a gear. We got to do something with it. Well, in CAD, we can't do anything with this while there's individual lines. We need to join those together so that they're one. To do so, you type join. The little square comes up, select everything. If you did it right, you'll see down here it says 31 segments. Yours may be more than 31. It depends on how big or small you made your gear. If I select it now, you'll see, but it's still only in sections. Now, that's because given what I gave CAD, it couldn't join everything in one shot. Just type in join again. Highlight everything. You'll see 27 more segments were added. I highlight it. Now we're all one. Go ahead, go to File, click Save. Save what you've done. Well, let's bring some life to this. We're going to create another circle. So type in circle, go exactly center, and that's going to be the center hole of your gear. Still don't like it. Still seems kind of bland. So what I want to do is I want to create a polyline, put it exactly center, and I think I want it to be about that high. Create another circle by typing in circle. Click on the end of that polyline and make your circle as big as you want. I like that. That looks really good. Now I want to array that circle. How I do that? Type in array, click the circle, right click. It's going to ask me how do you want to array it. Polar again, because I'm still going around a circle. Specify center point, which is the exact center of the gear. Now you can see I've got my circles. I'm going to keep them. So what I'm going to do now is hit escape. I'm going to delete that polyline I created. But we got a problem. My circles are all array. How do I do that? Well, again, you just click on this one circle. It selects them all. With it selected, type in explode. When you do that, it's going to explode them. Now I got individual circles. At this point, we've got a gear for all intents and purposes. So we're going to go ahead and make this gear a 3D gear. To do that, we want to change our view. If you don't have this, just right click anywhere where your toolbar panel is, and select View, and it will pop up. Once you have this toolbar up, you want to click any one. I'm going to click Southwest. If I click on Southwest, now it's going to show me what my gear looks like if I'm on the top looking at it from an angle. I want to go ahead and make the body and teeth of my gear look 3D. To do that, I'm going to type Extrude. That is the main command for creating a two-dimensional object, or turning the two-dimensional object into a three-dimensional object. So with Extrude activated, click on the body, right click, hit enter. Now you want to specify your height. I'm just going to eyeball it for the sake of this lesson. I like that. Click, there you go. If I type in HI, which means hide, it's going to take away all that see-through stuff, and this is what my gear looks like in a drafting view so far. Cool. Now you're going to notice you can't do anything once you do that. You can't pan anymore, you can't zoom in or out, and you really can't do anything. You can select certain parts of it, but you can't do anything. To change that, just clear everything out, type in RE for regenerate, hit enter, you're good to go. Next thing we want to do is these, we know, are going to run straight through our gear. They're straight through holes. So to do that, I want to select them all. There you go, making sure you're not selecting any other part of the gear. And I'm going to extrude them by typing extrude and bring them up a lot higher than the gear. The reason for that is if I hit HI, now you can see that a portion of those holes now are going through the gear. The reason for that is because when we take these away, anything not going completely through the gear will remain in the gear, so it won't look right. It can look right based on what you're doing, but for this, it wouldn't work. If you ever need to verify, you can just change your view, let's say a front view. Now you're looking at the gear from the front. You can see they're going all the way down here flush with the bottom of the gear, which for Autocad, that's completely fine. That's considered going through. But if you're worried about it, just select all those posts or holes that you just extruded, hit M for move, click on any of them, and with F8 on, you can move them down, and now they're going completely through. Be sure to keep F8 on, because the moment you turn F8 off, when you move, it's moving it between all views, and your holes that you just extruded could be way off the image. Keep F8 on, which is your orthogonal, you're good to go. If I go back to my Southwest view, I type in HI, you'll see I'm going straight through, and now you can definitely tell because there's one of them. RE to regenerate. I want to subtract them from that. That is the word, the coding, the word for AutoCAD is subtract. So to do that, I type subtract, hit enter, and it's going to say, well, what do you want to subtract? Well, I want to subtract these from this, but in CAD it's backwards. You say I want to keep this and subtract these. So you select your holes you just made. Once they're selected, right click, now they're gone. If I hit HI to hide it, you can see it goes straight through. That's pretty cool. It's still not a gear if you ask me. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my top view. I want to go ahead and create another circle. I'm going to click excuse me, I want to click exactly center of my gear. And I'm going to bring it out. If it starts jumping around like that, that's just because auto snaps on. Hit F3, it turns it off. I want to bring it out to about there. There's a reason for that, and we'll get to that shortly. Go back to your Southwest view, and you want to extrude that very first circle that you made, which is the inner circle. Left click, then right click, and hit enter. Lift it up as high as you want. Subtract. I want to keep my gear, but get rid of this center point. There we go. If I hit HI, now it looks like a gear. Well, I don't really like that so much. It still looks bland. So all I want to do is RE to regenerate, go back into my top view. We're going to go ahead and type in copy, and we want to make a copy of this circle that we just made a minute ago. Alright, so you can copy it and just click it. Type in M to move. or type move, and just move another copy off to the side. If you're worried about it, you can make a second copy. It doesn't really matter. Alright, what we want to do now is we want to go back to our southwest view, kind of zoom in down here. Right now, the circle is two-dimensional, but it's sitting at the bottom of the gear because when we extruded, we lifted everything up. We want to go ahead and extrude that circle, but this time we're not going to go the whole way through. This time we want to just go up a little bit, give it a little bit of an indentation. So to do that, click anywhere. There we go. But I'm still not too happy with it because I got to do something with it. So go back to your front view. And you can see it right there. If it's a hole that you made in it, you're not going to see your horizontal line. So seeing your horizontal line tells you I got a solid object floating around inside that gear. I want to click M to move. Click on that center that hole, the hole you just extruded, and just move it down a little bit. I'm going to say about halfway. You can eyeball it, it doesn't really matter. Now you want to go ahead and copy that. You can click on it, left click, right click, now select anywhere on the object, and we're going to move it up and click. If I hit escape to clear everything out and I go back to my southwest view, I can hide it by hitting HI, and you can see now it's kind of sticking out on it. If I was looking on the underside of it, you'd be able to tell the same thing. So I'm going to regenerate by typing RE, and now I want to type subtract. By typing subtract, I can click on this outside gear saying I still want to keep that gear. Right click, but I want to get rid of these things I just made. Right click again, you see it did something, but what did it do? Well, that's what it did. Give you a little indentation, something for a bushing or a bearing, anything. Well, that's cool, but it still looks kind of plain. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, delete these. We didn't end up needing them. It's always good to have extras. You don't always need them in CAD. We're going to go back to looking at our gear from the top view again. Top view. We're going to type in circle, click in the center, and this time we want to bring this circle out to about here. Oh, auto snap was on and moved it out. I don't like that. Hit U, enter, it's gone. Type in circle, click in the center, hit F3 if yours did the same thing, turn them snaps off. I want to move it to about here. That looks good. But what am I going to do with that? Well, it's simple. What I want to do is basically I'm going to take this circle and we're going to extrude the circle. But we're not going to extrude all the way through, because the moment you extrude all the way through, you're going to get rid of everything in here. So again, what we want to do is we want to go back to our southwest view, do just like we did a minute ago. Type in extrude, click on this bottom circle right here, hit enter, extrude it however deep you want it to go. I like that. Now I'm going to go back to my face view. Alright, I'm going to move this circle, and I'm going to basically make it to where it's flush, as flush with the bottom as I can get it. Now I want to type in copy, select the circle that we just moved, and I want to click on its plane and basically move it till it's flush. Cool. Now I go back to my southwest view, I hit HI, you see, oh, now everything's gone. Why? Because a solid circle is covering it up. But not for long. And the way to fix that is hit RE, which is real simple, and well, first Be safe because we don't want to mess our entire drawing up. Let's go back to our front view and delete the one we just made. We don't need it. We're going to zoom out and we're going to make a copy. I think this is going to make it look better for us. Click on that circle that you made and extruded and just move it out here to the side somewhere. Go back to your top view and you're going to say to yourself, well, I want to keep this and I also want to keep this. So how do I do that? Well, what you want to do is you want to create a circle, put it center of the gear, and you want to make it about as big as what you want to keep. So whatever you want to keep needs to be on the inside of that circle. So we're going to make it about that big. We're going to move this by hitting move or typing move. Click on that circle, right click, select the center of it, and move it to the center of the circle you just made. We're going to go back to our southwest view. We're going to extrude the circle we just moved, right click, enter, and make it as big as you want. Now type in subtract, keep the big circle, get rid of the little circle. Now it's gone. If I hit HI, you can see it's gone. I'm going to regenerate it. I'm going to go back to my top view now. I'm going to go M to move, highlight everything, and the center point of what you just made will be equal to the center point of what you already have. Go back to your southwest view, hit HI. I can't see anything. Well, that's because we have to go in our front view and now move everything the way we just did it. So move this down some, you turn your snaps off. Move it down to about there. Copy. And move it. Well, yeah, copy. Make sure you're selecting the right circle since we have a lot going on in here now. Move that. Go back to your view, hit HI. Now you'll see it's covered up. We're going to hit RE to regenerate. Now, we got a lot going on, so be careful what you click on. We want to keep our big gear. Well, we want to go ahead and get rid of this and this. Right click. Now if I hit HI to hide everything, there's my gear. Perfect. You want to take a look at it, you can just click up here on your little view cube and it'll allow you to rotate it around. Depending on the speed of your computer, could take some time. For the most part, mine handles it very well, but I'm just not very good at moving around. Alright, so hit HI again. There's your gear laying down at an angle. You don't like it, you can always default back to your southwest view. Hit HI, there you go. Alright, so we have a gear. One last thing before we finish up. Your gear is basically laying down, but let's just say you needed to move it so that you could put it into a machine that you had already built. In order to do this, you're going to come up here to modify, and there's a command called under 3D operations called 3D rotate. When you do that, you're going to select the entire object by left clicking, then right click, and you're going to see this little weird sphere looking thing coming up. Each color indicates an axis. You've got your X axis, your Z, and your Y. You need to figure out what you want to rotate it on. And the way I look at it is take your object the way it's sitting and imagine it's sitting on this axis. Now, if I'm moving on that, how's it going to turn? So if I was sitting on the Y, it's just going to spin in a circle. If I'm sitting on the Z, it's going to kind of flip-flop. But if I'm sitting on the X, it's going to move it basically in a rotating fashion. So to do that, you highlight over the red, click it, drag it till you get the angle you want, click again, now you're done. If I hit HI, there I am, and I have a gear. Hide it again, there's my gear. Alright, regenerate, go to File, save your work. And that's where we are. In the next video, we'll go over some options for making this gear look more realistic by adding some textures to it and then adding some lighting. And we'll wrap things up by just discussing some of the other options you might have with it as far as animating, and that's it. So I hope this video helped you. I hope you enjoyed it enough that you look forward to seeing other videos, and I'm always open to requests. If there's something you want to learn to do in CAD, hit me up and I'll make a video of it. Again, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe.